Hey, what's going on, guys? Flick here. Welcome to the start of a new series that we'll be trying on the channel called FIFA 19 Career Mode Challenges. And this is a concept that I've borrowed from Career Mode Stars. He's a content creator over on Instagram and Twitter. I'm going to leave links to his pages down in the description below. Would recommend you guys check him out because he produces a lot of great content for FIFA 19 Career Mode, and I'm sure he'll be continuing that for FIFA 20. But anyways, this particular challenge will be with FC Köln in the second Bundesliga. We'll be trying to get them promoted in the first season, as well as follow a couple of other specific rules that we've set for ourselves. And this is different than a standard FIFA 19 career mode because we have extra stipulations or challenges that we need to follow in order to achieve our objectives. For example, our short-term objectives will be to gain promotion to the Bundesliga in the first season, start building a young German team for the future, and also aim for that 70-point mark by the end of the season. So hopefully reaching 70 or more points in our 34 matches. For our long-term objectives, we're looking to finish mid-table and hopefully gain Europa League qualification in Season 2, as well as have a starting 11 age of under 25 and an average overall rating of higher than 81. For our transfer regulations, we want to bring in 2 Youth Academy players and play them in 8 games each. We also want to have 8 of our starting 11 players be either German or have played in the Bundesliga at some point in their career, as well as for every player that joins the club under 22, we have to sign a player that is over 30. And finally, we do need to release or transfer any of the players that are over 30 at the start of this career mode. For Köln, luckily, there's only 2 players that are 31 or older. This first episode will cover Season 1, but I plan on continuing this trend for Season 2, Season 3. As long as you guys are enjoying the content and I'm having fun with it, I'll see how long this challenge may go. Maybe we can go for Champions League qualification and make Köln the best team in FIFA 19 career mode. But if you guys do go on to enjoy this episode or are glad to see me back here on YouTube, it's been about 5 months, go ahead and leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you do happen to be new. While the completion of this career mode challenge isn't guaranteed, I think it's fair to say that Köln are the best suited team to win Bundesliga 2 and gain promotion to the top tier of German football. The only team that comes close in terms of rating and finances is Hamburg, who have slightly more cash but only have a 3.5-star rating compared to our 4-star rating. With roughly $16 million available for transfers, we should be able to bring in a few promising talents and establish a strong youth academy. We will be attempting this challenge on ultimate difficulty, using 6-minute halves and of course enabling the first transfer window to keep things interesting. The European International Cup will be a significant chance for us to increase our transfer budget or even use the potential prize money towards funding our youth academy scouts. Our group consists of Nantes, Leicester City, and Brighton, while Group B includes Fulham, Newcastle United, Hoffenheim, and Leganés. In addition to the objectives we set for ourselves in this career mode challenge, we're also going to try our best to complete the in-game objectives and keep our manager rating as high as possible. And starting with our youth development objective, it's a medium long-term priority, so we have 2 seasons to accomplish this. And within those 2 seasons, we have to have at least 1 player from our youth academy sign the first season, play in at least 50% of the games in the next season. Moving on to our brand exposure, this is a high priority. We need to sign 1 crucial first team player assigned to a midfielder or forward position and also gain roughly 20 million in earnings from shirt sales within the first season. Now, for finances, we need to keep player salary growth under 15% and finish the season with a profit margin of 87 million. This is a high priority objective for us. But most importantly, we need to focus on our domestic success. It's a critical priority. And just like the career mode challenge objective, we need to win the Bundesliga 2 within this first season and also reach the round of 32 for the Deutscher Pokal. Continentally, we don't need to worry about that for this first season. And here is the team that will be starting this career mode challenge with already a very strong starting 11. We will try to make some additional transfers to greater strengthen this team. And in order to give you a better idea of our players, I want to showcase 5 different players who, in my opinion, will play a crucial part in this career mode challenge and the long-term success of this career mode, and we will be starting with the man himself, Timo Horn. He is one of the club's leaders and an integral part of this challenge. He's been part of the Köln system since 2002 and has been the club's first choice keeper since the 2012-2013 season. Within 2 years of earning the starting keeper role, he was able to help the club gain promotion back to the Bundesliga, similar to what we'll be attempting in this series. And still just 25 years old, he has sufficient time left in his career to help bring glory to his hometown club. One of the many future stars in our squad, Jorge Mere will be a staple to our long-term squad plans, especially in our defense. The Spanish youth international boasts a potential of 85 in career mode and is likely to attract interest from other clubs. With that said, as long as we continue to meet our challenge objectives, I can see Mere writing his name in the Köln history books. Transitioning right away to another talented prospect, Vincent Koziello is another key building block for the long-term plans of our Köln side. Career mode fans will remember him as a promising talent for Nice in FIFA 17. While his potential has dropped slightly since then, we'll be investing resources into training Koziello to become the best talent he can be. It goes without saying that the leader of this team will be the club captain, Jonas Hector. The German international has already attracted interest from clubs abroad such as Chelsea and Liverpool, but he continues to stay loyal to the Billy Goats. Fans of the Bundesliga will already be aware of our striker Anthony Modeste. Following a 2-year hiatus in the Chinese Super League, we'll look to bring back the same goal-scoring form for Köln, an area that we desperately need in this team. We won't be trying anything too fancy for our tactics, using a defensive style of pressure on heavy touch, utilizing a width and depth of 5, and for offense, we'll be staying on balance, width and players in the box set to 7, and corners and free kicks basically having 2 players stay back so we don't get caught on the counters. There have been a few adjustments to our instructions. Our strikers are set to stay forward. I want them always being involved in our attacking play, and they don't really need to track back in this 3-5-2 formation because that's what our wingers will be doing for us. We have them set to come back on defense, stay wide, as well as get in behind. Both of our center defensive mids set to stay back while attacking, as well as cover center. For player roles, Hector will be our club captain, Podolski taking pretty much all the set pieces for us. On left corners, we have Kynes, and right corners, Koziello. Personally, I can't stand it when clubs pay the release clause for players because it completely ruins the plans I had for the team. So I will be renegotiating contracts for any players with a release clause. I won't be changing their wage and squad role too much. It's just so the release clause is disregarded. One of the more high-profile young German forwards, Fiete Arp, will be our first transfer target for this challenge. Although he's recently made the permanent transfer to FC Bayern München in real life, one could argue that a move like this to Köln will help with his development even more. For an up-and-coming player like Arp, regular match minutes will be crucial, and what better club to accomplish that than a club on the verge of promotion to the Bundesliga like Köln. We have managed to secure Arp for a $2 million transfer fee. This is a 2-year deal worth $6,000 a week and a sporadic player role. Judging by the thumbnail, you knew it was going to happen eventually. Our next transfer target will be the FC Köln legend and one of my all-time favorite players, Lukas Podolski. While part of the logic for this transfer is to comply with our transfer regulation of bringing in an over 30 player for every under 22 player that we sign, Podolski is still going to be a great addition to this team. His transfer fee was $4.25 million. This is a 2-year deal worth $23,500 a week, and he will be a crucial first team player for us. With our summer transfers complete, we're ready to move forward with our player training, and I have 2 sets of player training here. We're going to alternate between the 2. That way we get plenty of diversity for player growth. And the first set will be going towards Katterbach, Mere, Koziello, Özcan, and Arp. The second set going towards Horn, our left back, Schaub, Ostrak, Nartai, and Hauptmann. Following our 3 simulated group stage matches, we did manage to win Group A due to goal differential. Us and Brighton will be advancing out of the group. Group B will see Hoffenheim and Leganés advancing. A comfortable 2-0 win against Leganés in the semi-final will put us through to the final of the European International Cup against a Bundesliga opponent in Hoffenheim. Maybe this is some foreshadowing to Season 2 of this career mode. Unfortunately, though, we did lose to Hoffenheim 3-2 in the final, but regardless, we still brought in a lot of cash from this preseason tournament and more than we started off with. Part of this challenge includes offloading any players that are over 30 in the existing squad, and luckily we were able to sell Kessler in the summer transfer window. The other over 30 player, Lehmann, I had more trouble with. Between injuries and him retiring later in the season, we weren't able to offload him, but he pretty much stayed in the reserves and I didn't feature him in any of the matches. Matchday 1 of Bundesliga 2 will see us travel to Bochum, and while they are a strong side, I'm feeling confident in our squad's capabilities and the additions we made in the summer. We will, of course, be using our 3-5-2 formation, horn between the sticks for us, a back three of Chico, Sorensen, and Mere. Our midfield consisting of Koziello, Hoger, and Podolski in the middle, Hector and Kynes on the wings, and a front two of Terodde and Modeste. We'll start off the match highlights with a through ball by Podolski, who finds Kynes on the wing and then utilizes his 4-star skills to cut this one inside. And a nice showing of strength there by Modeste to get our first goal of the Bundesliga 2 season. Honestly, I was surprised he got the shot off, but that is his strong suit. He's going to body those defenders whenever he can and score as many goals as possible for us this season. The lead didn't last long though, as Cruz does follow up this loose ball. I don't know how we didn't clear it. Really, Timo Horn was left for stranded as he tried to make the save, but that was the confidence that Bochum needed just after the halftime break. They're going to get a long shot from outside the 18-yard box, despite having 3 or 4 defenders around Lee. He shrugged him off and got off a strong shot. Can't really discredit Korn there once again. 2 goals that weren't really his fault. Luckily, though, we answer right back with some great build-up play. Just working it from side to side. Eventually, it falls to Hoger, who goes crossbody and finishes. And that is really how you need to play this 3-5-2 formation. Just working it from side to side until you find the space. We'll try to continue that momentum with some more good passing play between our 2 strikers, Modeste and Arp. Unfortunately, that shot is saved and cleared away by Bochum, but you could tell this was sort of the turning point in the match. A lot of space here on the left for Arp, who's going to get as close as possible and follow it with a green tie finish, scoring his first goal for Köln and probably the first of many in his career. Really like the impact he can make for us early in this season, coming on as a sub, because we have so many strong strikers in this team between Modeste, Cordoba, Terodde, and now Arp. But what a strike there from Bochum's player. That will be Zoller, who equalizes in the 78th minute. This was probably the most exciting fixture of match day 1. 6 goals scored between the 2 of us, but we were not done quite yet. Some nice play on the wing. We find Arp, who is going to bury that chance and get us the winning goal in the 89th minute, scoring 2 goals for us in his debut. What a match for the youngster, and you could tell from the stats we were slightly better than Bochum. I think we deserved the win there with 9 shots, 7 on target, and 52% of the possession. If we look at the player ratings, it's actually Jonas Hector who gets man of the match with a 9.6 rating. Following that match, we do have a bit of transfer news. Marcel Riese will be departing for FC Basel at the start of the next transfer window. And for a player that probably wouldn't feature for us, 9 million is a good chunk of change to use toward youth scouting. And I'm trying to sign 3 5-star, 5-star scouts. Unfortunately, it's completely random what experience and judgment these scouts have, and I'm pretty picky when it comes to signing them. So for now, we're going to sign this scout from Switzerland and hope that he can bring us some good prospects. I decided to do some simulating for the Deutscher Pokal. We won our round 1 fixture against Wien 2-1, but unfortunately, we were drawn against a very difficult opponent in round 2. Our next match in the Pokal will be against RB Leipzig, who boast a number of talented prospects in their squad. Obviously, we're going to be underdogs for this fixture, but I don't have a lot to worry about for this match because we've already met our cup objective of reaching the round of 32. So if we were to be eliminated, it wouldn't be the worst thing because we can focus purely on the league this season, which is our top objective. But for our starting 11, no major changes. Still using the 3-5-2 formation. Geis is brought in at the right center defensive mid position for Hoger, and we actually started this match off really well through Kynes and some good dribbling. He finds Modeste in the middle, and he was being challenged by a defender, to be fair, but he probably should be getting that shot on target. You expect him to be getting a goal there, and same thing with Podolski, 1-1 with the keeper. He tested him, but you kind of expect better from a player of Podolski's stature. And of course, with Leipzig's first chance, they make no mistake about it. It's Timo Werner, who puts it away, arguably their top player and a reliable one for them. And again, his pace puts him through, and the rebound goes straight back to him. Werner makes it too, and it was just a match where we were not finishing our chances, but Leipzig were. The rest of these highlights will showcase a few more great opportunities for us to try to cut the deficit in half and make something out of this match. A great turn by Podolski, and I have nothing to say about that. It's a green time finish. Probably should be getting on target, but I don't discredit Podolski because he did everything right there. But again, it's another one-on-one for him, and this time he hits the post. So 2 one-on-ones for Podolski. You could say 3 with the green time finish ones. So this match should have been closer than what it was. We just didn't have our chances fall our way. We were pretty much level on every statistic to Leipzig, but we do not get man of the match in this one. I'm assuming it went to Timo Werner with his 2 goals. I wanted to showcase a little more gameplay before we get into the January transfers, because this match against Hamburg is one that I was anticipating throughout the season. I mentioned at the start of the video that they are probably our toughest competition in Bundesliga 2, so I thought it would be interesting to showcase this match and see how we would play against them. We will, of course, be using our 3-5-2 formation. It's been working for us. We're generating chances. We just need to put those chances away. No changes to our midfield backwards. The only change being Arp was brought in at the left striker position. And the first chance actually does go to Hamburg. It's Özcan, who showcases some nice dribbling and a good first-time shot that is saved by Horn. Here, Podolski playing through Arp into some space, nearly gets fouled and tripped up inside the box, but we stick with it, and that's a beautiful volley by Modeste. Volleys seem to work in FIFA 19 all the time, so whenever you have the chance, you got to take it, and Modeste continuing his goal-scoring form in the first half of the season. But the goal that's coming up is probably the favorite one I scored all season, just because it's typical Podolski. He showcases his shot power, he hits that one first time, and no keeper in the world is going to save that one. He's even got the captain armbands on right now. I'm not sure why that is, but our number 10, what a goal for him. And after such a poor showing in the match against RB Leipzig, that just made me so happy to see he can come back from that and score absolute banger like this one. We didn't generate that many chances outside of our 2 goals, but the 2 goals that we did score were contenders for goal this season, to be fair, so I am completely happy about that. Looking at the player ratings, it's Podolski who picks up a shared 9.0 rating with Arp, but he'll win man of the match. One thing I noticed from the first half of the season is the lack of pace we had on the wings. So what better way to combat that than to sign a young winger from Bundesliga 3, Braydon Manu. Not only does he offer blistering pace with 93 acceleration and 93 sprint speed, but he also has 5-star skills and a 4-star weak foot. If we invest the time into training his technical abilities, I know that Manu will be a future star for us. This transfer fee was fairly small, only 1.65 million on a 3-year deal worth 7,500 a week and a sporadic player role. Another weak spot for our team is our defense. With the exception of Mere, our center backs have peaked in their potential and won't surpass the mid-70s for their rating. While we continue to search for a future replacement in the center back position, bringing in an experienced center back like Dante makes sense to me. He's well versed with German football, having spent a number of seasons in the Bundesliga with the likes of Borussia Mönchengladbach, Bayern München, and VfL Wolfsburg. This is our most expensive transfer thus far. The fee was 6 million, and this is just a 1-year deal worth 22,500 a week, and of course the crucial first team player role. Following the additions of Manu and Dante, I have made some changes to our starting 11. Dante will serve as our central defender. I think that suits him best because he can win any aerial challenges, and then any wide balls that are played can be collected by Sorensen and Mere, who have a bit more pace. Manu will be starting on the bench, and I'm fine with that because we're going to train him up until his overall ratings in the mid-70s. At that point, he could probably make his way into the starting 11, but for now, he's going to be a super sub. After checking week in, week out, we were finally able to find 2 more 5-star scouts to add to our scouting network. They were brought in later than I would have liked, and that will impact which players we're able to sign. If we would have had all 3 available from the start of the career mode, I would have been able to be more picky about what players I choose, but you guys will see later on, I finally settle on a couple of Youth Academy prospects to sign in the first season. It seems like at the start of the month, we get these updates about training injuries, and this one is an unfortunate one for us because Timo Horn, our best player, and the man who's been in form in the first half of the season, will be out for 2 months with a broken collarbone, and we don't have a lot of options, unfortunately, at the goalkeeper position, at least not high rated options. So it's going to be the American Scott coming in with a 57 overall rating, less than ideal, but luckily we have a bit of a cushion and some room for error at the top of the table. After some careful consideration, I narrowed it down to 3 Youth Academy players to promote to our first team, 2 of which will feature in at least 8 matches for this first season. The first prospect that we will be promoting is Andreas Hase, a 16-year-old right back, 6'2". He is right-footed with a 51 overall and a potential of 74 to 92, a value of 100,000. Matthias Meyer is our next prospect to promote, a 16-year-old left back with a height of 6 foot. He's left-footed with an overall of 51, potential of 76 to 90, and a value of 100,000. Paul Becker is our final player to promote. He's a 16-year-old center back, 5'11", right-footed with an overall of 55 and a potential on the lower side of 70 to 90, but his value is slightly higher than our other 2 prospects at 180,000. Ultimately, I decided to go with Meyer and Becker as the 2 players to appear in matches for us this season because they kind of fit the positions that we need the most work. I can see our left side changing up a bit, so Meyer could eventually find his way into the starting 11 if he can fulfill his potential and work on a couple of his attributes. Another thing to consider is that because we are simulating a good amount of these matches, the overall rating of these players certainly matters. So signing a player with lower potential but a higher overall like Becker makes sense in the long run, so that we can pick up points where needed. And unfortunately, I don't think these guys will be in the long-term plans of this career mode. Hopefully we can find some better prospects, but for now, they're not bad. Our match against Holstein Kiel was certainly going to be an interesting one. Not only would we see a debut from the likes of Dante and Manu, but we'll be featuring Scott as our goalkeeper, which isn't exactly ideal, but we'll give the young American a shot and see how he does play in this match. There he is between the sticks for us, and not too many other changes to our starting 11 outside the inclusion of our January transfers. There you can see Manu starting at that right midfield position, and hopefully Arp and Modeste can continue their goal scoring form. But it's Manu who gets involved right away, using his pace down the wing and finding a pretty nice pass inside. Not the best control and not the best finish from Arp. To be fair, it was a red time finish, but you guys might have seen the ball kind of crept away, so I wasn't sure if the shot button had registered, which resulted in just a poor finish all around. But here you go again. It's Manu who bursts down the wing, plays a great through ball to Modeste, but our strikers cannot seem to finish today. But a lot of bright spots for us in this match. The fact that Manu is able to offer that pace is so great. And now it's Dante who gets involved, picking up a loose ball, showing some tenacity, and just being in the right place at the right time to give us a 1-0 lead going into the halftime break. That's exactly what we needed. And once I realized that Manu was beating their defenders for pace, I kept on feeding him the ball. Here again, he gets by their defense, just has to finish. Unfortunately, that shot is saved. And we know that we need to work on Manu's finishing. We realized that when we signed him, and that can easily be improved upon through player training. We'll just keep on working on that attacking drill. And I think by the end of season 2, maybe the start of season 3, he is going to be a well-rounded player and someone that I can start week in, week out. Here again, just has to finesse the shot by the keeper. It hits the post and it is cleared away. We're still with it though, as Holger plays it through to Arp, who finds Manu on the through ball. And this time he is called for offside, but his shot does hit the crossbar. Very inconsistent thus far in his debut. At least the debut for when I'm playing. But as I say that, Kiel actually managed to get the equalizer in the 75th minute. A pretty unfortunate header to concede as we were dominating the match up to that point. But here off of kickoff, we do get some nice link-up play between Modeste, Arp, and Podolski. He plays a nice through ball to Manu, who finishes that chance, and what a finish it was. By far the most difficult shot he had to complete throughout this match. He had some easy chances, but this one he puts us away and puts us up 2-1. Unfortunately though, Kiel will score a kickoff goal of their own, and this was actually a poor showing from Scott. He played alright up to this point, but this was just disastrous as he pretty much just falls over. What do you expect from a low-rated keeper? I know for certain Horn would have been able to make that save. Not much Scott can do about that one as we go down 3-2 in the 85th, and it just seemed like we were destined to lose this one. All the missed chances that we should have put away early in the match ended up biting us, and we do drop points, losing 3-2. Though we could take some positives from the fixture. Manu with man of the match with a 9.0 rating and showing that he can finish some of the harder chances, just needs to put the easy ones away. Due to our good form in the early stages of the season, we had the opportunity to wrap up the Bundesliga 2 title with 2 matches to spare against Greuther Fürth. Unfortunately, it was an away match, so we wouldn't be able to do it in front of our home crowd, but I decided to play this fixture as if we can lock things up, I figure why not? That way we can pretty much just rest our players in our final 2 fixtures, and we can, of course, see the celebration at the end of the season. Here's a look at the league table. You can see we were by far the best team in the Bundesliga, plus 34 goal differential. I'll take that every single day. We do see the return of Horn, though, as our goalkeeper. This was the first match he was ready and recovered from injury, so that was some great timing. A couple of changes in our midfield by starting Geis, and then our dynamic duo up top with Arp and Modest. We will see Kynes get involved right away with a nice through ball to Modest. He plays it in the middle. It's spilled by the keeper, and it's Jonas Hector who gets the first match highlight in the 58th minute. It was a pretty boring first half, and that's not the most spectacular goal, but it's a goal that I'll absolutely take from our club captain, being in the right position, and the build-up play to that was pretty nice, to be fair, as we do a very similar play here with Modest getting through on goal. He's looking for options in the middle. It's deflected, but he does a nice drag back to create some space. Back heel from Podolski, and that will be a finish from Arp, pretty much sealing the deal in the 72nd minute. And you can tell by my celebration, I was pretty hyped about this one. He's going over to any supporters that made the trip and pretty much letting them know we've won the Bundesliga 2 title. Greuther Fürth weren't going to give up without a fight, though, as our defense struggled to get back. I think stamina was definitely playing a factor here, but the tracking was not ideal, as they do manage to cut the deficit in half. Luckily, though, we're going to collect this final opportunity, and the final whistle goes. That will seal the deal for us. We are Bundesliga 2 champions, and we will be promoted to the Bundesliga next season. As our first team decides to celebrate right here, unfortunately, we won't see any sort of trophy ceremony, just the players celebrating with each other. But I think we can look back at this season with a lot of optimism. This squad really showed up, and we put in a lot of dominant shifts. The matches that we did lose were pretty much purely because of our lack of finishing ability. We created chances pretty much every single fixture. We just need to bring in those experienced players that can finish chances week in and week out. And looking at the stats from this match, we were finally able to create something in the second half, getting some goals and some shots on target. Lukas Podolski gets man of the match, and that is just a great way to end the first season of this career mode. As far as the league table is concerned, we ended up finishing the campaign with a 10-point advantage over Union Berlin, who will also be promoted to the Bundesliga next season. Hamburg will feature in the playoff match against the team that finished 3rd from the bottom in the Bundesliga. As far as the bottom of the table sides in Bundesliga 2, it was Kiel and Regensburg who were relegated to Bundesliga 3. FC Bayern displayed a strong Bundesliga campaign, finishing 4 points ahead of Borussia Dortmund, but a bit of a surprise for the relegated sides. Nuremberg and Frankfurt will be sent down to Bundesliga 2, and considering that Frankfurt qualified for Europa League in real life, I was shocked to see that they finished 17th in this simulation, but Mainz ended up surviving in the promotion playoff final, so they will not be relegated, and Hamburg will be staying in Bundesliga 2. Although Dortmund weren't able to win the Bundesliga title, they were able to salvage something and won the Pokal with a 2-1 win over Wolfsburg in the final. It was an all-Spanish final as Atletico Madrid battled out against FC Barcelona and narrowly scraped by with a 1-0 victory, making them Champions League winners for the 2018-19 season. And Chelsea replicated their form in real life, winning the Europa League title 2-1 over Leverkusen in the final. Looking through some of the league statistics, it was Modest that finished the top goal scorer in Bundesliga 2, netting 23 goals in 34 matches. He had a very strong first half of the season. Second half was all right, but still enough to finish top by a large margin. For assists, it was Testrolz and Hector who finished joint top, although Hector played one less match, and that's worth mentioning. And for clean sheets, it was the Union Berlin goalkeeper who was joint top with Timo Horn. It was unfortunate also that Horn had that injury in the middle of the season. Otherwise, I think he would have finished alone at the top. I also wanted to go over our team statistics so you can see which players really contributed for us this season. For appearances, it was Modeste and Mary who featured in pretty much every match. Some other players worth mentioning were Kynes, Hector, and Koziello. For goals, of course, it's going to be Modeste at the top because he was the league leading goal scorer, but Trota also netted a few goals throughout the season with 10, and Podolski netted 9. As for assists, it was our left midfielder, Jonas Hector, who contributed the most. Podolski and Kynes also netting a good amount of assists as well. After a few more months of scouting, we found a goalkeeper that I was comfortable signing, and Dario Bader will be promoted to the first team. He's a 16-year-old goalkeeper standing 6'4", with an overall of 62 and a potential of 73 to 94. By far the best value of any youth academy prospects that we found, with 625,000 for his value. And we will hopefully be training him up next season so he can potentially take over for Horn at some point in this career mode, but that is a ways away. You can see he actually does have an exciting prospect status, which is always nice to see. And a fun stat about him is that he has a 5-star weak foot, so we can play it back to him, and he can hopefully distribute from our defense to our attack. It's important to consider which players saw good overall growth throughout the first season, so we can decide which players to invest training time into for season 2. And I recommend just pausing the video if there are any players you want to see in depth, because it would take too long otherwise for me to go over every player that saw some growth or went down in their rating. In terms of the players that did go down, Lehmann is still on the team, but he's retiring at the end of this season. I wasn't able to release him. He went down -1. Dante, as expected, went down -1. Trota down -1, and Podolski surprisingly went down 2 in his rating. Looking through our in-game objectives, we were able to sign 4 Youth Academy prospects in the first season, and I haven't decided which one of them I want to feature in season 2. It's probably going to be one of our outfielders that we try to play in at least 50% of the games next season. It's worth noting that we can also just briefly feature them as a substitute in the later half of matches. We don't necessarily need to start them in our first team. For brand exposure, we were able to complete both of those short-term objectives, signing Lucas Podolski as our crucial first-team player and gaining at least 19.7 million in our shirt sale earnings. The financial objective was pretty tough to complete. We were able to keep player salary growth under 15%, just 4% growth there, but we only got 2/3 of the way to finishing the season with a profit margin of 87 million. We would have had to sell a lot more players in order to meet that objective. For domestic success, we were easily able to accomplish the 2 short-term objectives there, winning the league title with 2 matches to spare and reaching the round of 32 of the Deutscher Pokal. For our career mode challenge objectives, the only one that hasn't been made obvious yet was our Youth Academy prospects and whether we were able to feature them in 8 matches in the first season. I'm happy to report that we were able to feature both Becker and Meyer in at least 8 matches, and it's probably going to be one of these 2 players that I feature in season 2 as a regular substitute for us so we can meet that other Youth Academy objective we have for us in game. As we close out the first season of this FC Köln Career Mode Challenge, I wanted to give you an overview of the squad that we currently have so you guys can suggest some potential transfers I can make in season 2. The main positions that I think we need to improve are our center back position by signing a much younger and higher overall center back than Dante. Don't get me wrong, he played well in the first season, even contributing some goals, but that 35-year-old mark is going to be an issue if we want to meet our average age rating requirement for this career mode challenge. So we do need to eventually replace him. And I would also like to sign a better center mid. Now, for this playstyle that I use, I want to have a box-to-box center mid that is technically sound, someone that can dribble and that can also contribute on the attack as well as in defense. Özkan, I think, could fit that role in the future, but he's a bit low for the rating right now, just 73, and that is the lowest overall rating in the starting 11, so I think an improvement there would be great. To give you an idea of how we're doing for the average age and average rating objectives that we need to complete by the end of season 2, we have an average starting 11 age in the squad of 25.73. We need to get that under 25 by the end of next season. I don't think that's going to be a problem because we basically need to decrease the number of years in the squad by 8. If we can sign a new center back to replace Dante, that should help out quite a bit. For average rating, we're only at 78.09. We need to reach 81 plus. Again, I don't think that is going to be an issue because we have a lot of player training to do next season. For example, ARP went up +7 in just the first season, so if he continues that trend, he'll be at 82, which will help out quite a bit. To give you an idea of how much we need to improve, we need to go up 32 ratings throughout the squad. To add on to whatever funds are given to us at the start of Season 2, I do want to offload a few players from the squad that I don't see serving a role for us in the next season. And although Tarota was our second leading goal scorer with 10 goals, he was a boss in simulations, I think it's important for us to offload at least one striker because ARP is only going to continue going up in his rating, and we have a number of other striker options in the team, and he's only going to go down in his rating from here on out. The rest of the players didn't really feature for me in Season 1, so that's probably not going to change in Season 2. It's just extra cash that we can use toward additional transfers. Speaking of transfers, I wanted to let you all get involved by leaving a comment section below as to what players you think I should sign either at the start of Season 2 or in the January transfer window. Just keep in mind the positions. I think we need to improve the center back and center defensive mid position. I'm going to leave a couple of players here that are included in the relegated Eintracht Frankfurt side. I think it would make sense for us to sign at least one of these guys because they are promising talents, and I think they want Bundesliga match time. And considering Frankfurt are in Bundesliga 2 now, we should pick up one of these players. Out of the 3 Frankfurt players that I'm going to feature, I believe that Ndika would be the best transfer for our Köln squad. He pretty much fits everything that I want in a center back. He's young, pretty high for his rating already at 78. He's left-footed as well, so he could either replace Dante as our central center back, but he's also quick enough to play on the outside left center back for us in the future, especially if he can improve in his physical attributes. His market value is also the lowest of the 3 players at only 15 million. Another Frankfurt defender worth considering is Da Costa. He's listed as a right wing back, but I could see him playing either right center back or right midfield for us. He's 80 overall for his rating at 26 years old, some great physical attributes at 6'2", high medium work rates, 3-star skill moves, and a 3-star weak foot, and his market value is not too bad at 16.5 million. The final Frankfurt player that I'm going to mention would be a long shot of a transfer, and it's in a position that I don't think we need to improve at the start of Season 2, but I'm still going to mention him because he is the most like-for-like striker in the Bundesliga or second Bundesliga compared to Modest. It is Aller. Has 3-star skills and a 2-star weak foot, but it's the 6'3" stature and high medium work rates that really stand out to me. He's going to be a clinical goal scorer, and he would pretty much serve the same role for us that Modest did in Season 1. The main downside for him is his market value of 37.5 million, but maybe now that Frankfurt has been relegated is the time for us to make a move on a striker that could probably play for us for the entirety of this career mode challenge. But with those potential transfers out of the way, that will bring an end to our Season 1 with FC Köln for this career mode challenge. I want to stress how much fun I've had making this whole video for you guys, and I really do hope that you did enjoy it. It's great to be back on YouTube, and I can't wait to bring out more episodes of this series for you guys. If you did enjoy this first episode, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, but until next time, this has been Flick. I'll be talking to you all again soon.